Alright, hello everyone, welcome on into Bliss. So just before we get started, if you haven't done Bliss before, it's a really nice, slow, stretchy class, as much about going within and being with the breath as it is about the external movement. You might want to grab a strap or a towel or a t-shirt or anything that you can use to aid a forward fold, and also maybe a pillow, or if you've got a brick or anything, if you know you like to have that as a little bit of support for a seated forward fold, feel free to grab those now. Don't worry if you're not quite there yet, however, we're going to start off in a supine bound angle. So if you need to grab a few things, rock on, and then we'll all get started coming down in a supine bound angle, thinking about bringing the soles of the feet together and letting the knees knock out wide. Thinking about tucking the shoulders down the back, having a play with whether the feet are closer or further from the hips, whatever feels good for you. And just closing the eyes and starting to relax. If this doesn't feel comfortable for you, it can be quite intense on the hips. You can just kick the feet out towards the edges of the mat, or take the knees out towards the edges of the mat and let the knees knock in. So whatever feels good for you, you just aim to find a comfortable starting position where the shoulders can relax, the hips can ground down, the feet and the head and the hands relax, and breathe. Maybe just taking a few moments to notice how your breath feels right now at this moment. Where and how the breath is moving through your body. Maybe noticing whether it feels easy, or maybe it feels a little more difficult. Noticing where it's moving through the body, the texture, the sound of the breath. And then moving from this point of observing the breath, actively deepening the breath. Seeing if you can attach a slow count of 3 or 4, or maybe longer, to the inhale. 3 or 4, maybe longer, to the exhale. Finding a full, steady rhythm. Maybe seeing if you can feel that breath deep in the lower belly. So trying to find that same quality of breath that you would find at rest, at sleep. And again, maybe feeling into the sound of the breath, the texture of the breath. Trying to settle into a smooth rhythm here. Maybe seeing if, as the breath slows down, you can also let the mind slow down, letting the mind focus on the breath. And we'll be taking some longer holds today. Remember that you can always, if you find it challenging to rest in stillness, bring the mind back to that slow count of the inhale, of the exhale, in order to help the mind settle. Just here, counting out 5 more really deep, expansive breaths in and out. Inhale. And exhale. Feeling that breath swell and grow and drift away. 2 more deep, expansive breaths here. Deep inhale. Exhale. 1 more deep breath in. And from there, drawing the knees in towards each other. Using the hands for support if you need to. And giving yourself a little squeeze, little stretch. Maybe just taking the hands to the knees and drawing both knees around a little circle. So you're just gently massaging out the lower back, finding some space. Maybe just taking a little rotation the other way. And then from there, extend out long with your left leg. Think about drawing the right knee in towards the right armpit. So keeping the left hip grounded, you're drawing the right knee around the outside of the rib cage, drawing the right knee towards the chest. The shoulders are down the back. You're finding a lovely stretch into the hips, into the back of that right leg. Try to keep both shoulders on the mat and use the breath here. So inhale, drawing that right knee around. Exhale, soften. Deep inhale. Exhale. One more deep, full breath in. And from there, take the left hand to the right knee and draw the right knee across the body, extending the right arm out so the right palm is to the ceiling. Try to let the right shoulder relax down towards the mat. And imagine that you're drawing the right hand and the right knee in opposite directions. So you're finding a lovely stretch, and then you're releasing both the right knee and the right shoulder down towards the mat. We're aiming to find a stretch in the outside of the right leg and through the front side of the right shoulder. Inhaling and exhaling deeply here. So we're finding space, little mobilization and twist through the spine. Any twists are really great for digestion as well. Starting to unravel the body at the end of this Friday. And as we find this position and start to rest into this position, thinking about turning the mind to the breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Feeling into that depth in the breath, that flow away. Taking one more deep inhale. Exhale. And from there, returning through center, letting the right leg extend and the left knee hug in. So we're keeping the right hip down on the mat here, drawing the left knee up and around the hip joint. So remember, you're trying to keep both hips grounded, both shoulders grounded, and you're finding a slight external rotation through the hip. So the left knee is just moving to the side of the rib cage. Deep breaths in. And finding that lovely stretch down the inside of the hips, down the back of the leg. Deep, full inhales. Exhales, maybe closing the eyes here. And seeing if you can let the eyelids become a little softer. For another 3, inhale. Exhale. 2. One more deep, full breath in. And from there, take the right hand to the left knee, drawing the left knee across the chest and extending the left arm away from you. Think about the left knee and the left hand stretching out long, taking a beautiful deep inhale, extending out, lengthening out, and then relaxing the left shoulder down to the mat. So as before, we're starting to find space in the outside of the left leg, through the front left side of the chest, finding a beautiful little twist through the spine. Inhaling. Exhale. So relaxing down. Remember the breath, finding that steady breath. Maybe just continuing to see if you can find some softness in the muscles of the face. Letting the forehead and the chin and the jaw relax. Deep breaths in and opening up through the spine. Again, just thinking about unraveling. Another 3, inhale. Exhale. 2. One more deep breath in. And from there, come through center. Give yourself a little squeeze, a little stretch. And then we're just going to start to bring some movement into the spine. So grounding down with the feet, knees are in the air, hips and heels are a little way apart, so we're at the beginning of a bridge pose. Back of the neck long, shoulders down the back. We're going to take a flowing dynamic bridge. So ground down, big toe, little toe, heel. And inhale, let that inhale carry the hips away from the floor. And on the exhale, lowering down. So starting to see if you can let breath and movement come together. So let that movement follow the breath. So inhale, lifting the hips for the length of that inhale. And when the exhale comes, slowly lowering down with control, vertebra by vertebra. Maybe seeing if you can let breath follow movement. So inhale for the full length of the lift of the hips. And then when you're lowering down, find that exhale. Two more. Start to feel breath and movement come together. Rippling up with the inhale following the movement. And exhaling to roll down and letting that movement down follow the exhale. One more little ripple up, roll up. And slowly back down. And from there, just give yourself a little squeeze. And we're going to find a way up to seated here, so you can rock up and over or roll into a ball on one side. Find your way up to a seated position. Beautiful. Okay, so finding your way up to seated. We're going to spend a little bit of time here in easy cross-legged. So if you like to sit up on a brick for this, feel free. So if it's comfortable to sit on the floor, do go ahead. If you like to sit up on a little pillow or roll up back of your mat, whatever feels good, rock on. So here we're going to start off with the right leg in front of left, feeling the sit bones ground and the shoulders relax. If it feels comfortable, turning the backs of the palms up. So the palms are to the sky. And maybe applying a little pressure through the back of the hands so you can support the lift of the spine. Thinking about the shoulders rolling down the back. Maybe letting the hands relax. And feeling the crown of the head reach up to the sky on the inhale. On the exhale, seeing if you can move the shoulders away from the ears, finding space in the back body. Returning to feeling into the breath, moving to this seated position, feeling how the breath affects the spine. That inhale carrying the spine longer, exhaling, relaxing. Just taking one more deep breath in and out here. From there, opening the eyes and starting to walk the hands forwards. It might be that just taking a little forward fold is enough for you. It might be that it's comfortable to come all the way down. You might be able to come all the way down. It might be you want to place something under your forehead to support this forehead, whatever feels good. We're aiming to find a lovely stretch through the hips. Remember, just take whatever position is good for you. Don't feel like you have to push or strain. We're really aiming to just gently melt down, to release. This is all about letting go and simply letting gravity and breath and time do all the work. So feeling the tailbone ground and feeling the breath in the body here. So using the breath to find space. We're going to inhale. Imagine the inhale slightly lifts and extends the spine. And then you can relax down on the exhale. So here in a seated forward fold, remember it's a forwards as much as a downwards movement. So you want to feel that inhale, gently extend the spine, move the spine a little forwards, and then on the exhale you can start to release and relax. You should be feeling a lovely little stretch of the hips, maybe through the outside of the right leg. And if it feels comfortable, maybe starting to close the eyes and come a little more inwards. Feeling once again into the quality of the breath, the sound of the breath. Finding that lovely space in the body, in the spine. So in our Bliss class, we hold the poses a little longer. It's not only beneficial in terms of starting to practice that ability to rest in stillness, but also in terms of finding space in the body. These longer holds are really good for developing flexibility long term. Just counting out 5 more deep breaths in and out here. Inhaling. Exhale. Remembering to keep the shoulders soft. Taking one more really deep inhale. Exhale. And then walking the hands up. And we're just gently going to swap the feet over, so bring the left foot in front of right. So again, we're just going to think about finding height in the spine and then enjoy a forward fold. So thinking about finding the sit bones down, thinking about the shoulders drawing down the back. This time you might want to take the palms face down onto the knees. And again, you might want to exert a little pressure. In your mind's eye, tracing the movement of the spine. Feeling into the tailbone and seeing if you can let that tailbone tuck slightly, ground down and sink down into the mat. Thinking about finding a nice, maybe a little engagement through the core and visualizing the spine stacking vertebra by vertebra. Feel the inhale continue that lengthening movement of the spine, feeling the crown of the head reach as if pulled up to the sky. Exhale, shoulders relax. So just enjoying that sense of height, of length. Here in this upright position, the breath can really flow easy and steady. Closing the eyes maybe. Again, attenuating to the sound of the texture of the breath. To the shapes of the body. Maybe just noticing the colours behind the eyelids. Another 3. Inhale. Exhale. Soft shoulders. 2. One more really deep, full inhale. Exhale. From there, just start to gently fold forwards. So, thinking about gently finding your way in. Remember, we've got loads of time. You can take your time. If you want to stay quite upright, that's awesome. If you're able to comfortably move a little forwards, go ahead. Using the breath. And again, remember, it's that forwards movement and then the downwards movement one. So almost imagine the back body is extending backwards. The inhale carries the body forwards, so you can lengthen out through the spine and then you relax downwards. So any forward folds, we're aiming to get into the lower back as well as into the hips. So you should be feeling this in the left hip, maybe in the outside of the left hip. Just go as far as feels comfortable. We don't want any pain at all in the hips. So just gently fold forward, stretch forwards. We're also aiming to find space in the lower back. Can be quite a hard area to get into. So just letting yourself gently relax down, feeling space in the hips. And this finding your way to a point of comfort, of ease. Remember, you're very welcome if you want to take support of the hands under the forehead or a brick, anything that feels good. Inhaling and exhaling. Noticing maybe what's going on in the mind, how the mind is doing with this settling into stillness. If you find it's going somewhere that isn't quite right for now, for you, maybe seeing if you can gently encourage the mind to return to the awareness of the breath. Feeling into that inhale, that exhale, counting the inhale, the exhale. Another 5, inhale, exhale, 4, 3, 2. Taking one more deep breath in. And from there, just gently walking the hands back up and lifting up with the spine, finding a way to seated. Bring a little more activity in now. We're going to work a dynamic twist. We're going to inhale, lift the arms up, shoulders down the back. And exhale, take a twist. Left hand to the right knee, right hand down the back. Inhale, lifting up tall, shoulders down. And exhale, taking a twist. Right hand to the left knee, left hand down the back. So a little dynamic twist, bringing space into the spine. Inhale, lift tall. Exhale to twist to the right. Inhale, lifting tall. Exhale, twisting to the right, left. Releasing the spine one more time. Inhale, lift tall. Exhale to the right. Inhale, lift tall. Exhale to the left. Inhale, lift tall. And exhale, release. From there, taking your right foot in front of left. And we're going to move into a little seated cat-cow here. So again, we're warming up the spine. This time we're taking forwards and backwards movements. Hands to knees. Inhale, feel the chest reach forward, shoulders down the back. Exhale, squeezing the core, rippling back, chin to chest. Inhale, feel that inhale, reach the chest forward, shoulders down. Exhale, keep the core engaged to support the spine, rippling back. 2 more, inhale. Reaching forward to the chest, shoulders down. Exhaling back. 1 more, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, back up to a neutral spine. And from there, rolling forwards and finding our way to a table pose. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. So moving into the upper back here. Starting off, we're just going to take a little twist through the shoulders. So left hand grounds, right hand lifts to the sky. Inhale, extend that right hand high. Exhale, take the right palm face up under the left arm. Right shoulder comes down onto the mat. From there, you can extend the left hand out in front of you. Shimmy yourself around. You want to find a point where you feel really lovely and comfortable. You've got a nice stretch to the right shoulder. You can take the left hand around to the right hip if that feels nice. If it doesn't feel comfortable you being up high on the knees here, you can take a twisted child's pose instead. Taking the knees out wide, big toes together, hips towards the heels. And then again, you can just take the right shoulder down on towards the mat, the left hand out in front of you. A little softer as a pose where you can just let the hip spine ground. So option to be here in child's pose, or from kneeling, bring that right shoulder down and the right ear down towards the mat. Whatever works for you. Just do feel into those little micro movements, those possibilities available for that movement. Aiming to find a lovely stretch through the right shoulder. Closing the eyes and breathe. Once again. In and out. Noticing perhaps the subtle movements the inhale and the exhale create in the body. So that inhale gently expands the back of the right shoulder. And exhale releases. Again, noticing if you can bring a little softness into the eyes and the face. Working here, deep inhales, exhales. For 3, deep breath. And out. 2. 1 more with a deep inhale. Exhale. From there, left hand plants, right hand is going to come up, so we're coming back into table pose, and we'll take that on the other side. Left hand reaches up, inhale. Exhale, take the left shoulder down onto the mat, left palm is to the sky, right hand can walk out in front of you. So shimmying yourself around, finding somewhere that feels comfortable. Remember, if that doesn't feel comfortable, you can take the knees out wide and take a twisted child's pose instead. So with knees out wide, big toes together, and then again you take the left shoulder down, the left ear down, and you relax down there. So whatever feels good for you. We're taking a little micro twist through the spine, or maybe a little deeper if you're up here in your thread the needle. We're allowing space to come into the spine as it stretches out with gravity. We're finding space in the shoulder. Inhaling. And exhale. Expansive, steady breaths in. And out. Again, feeling how the breath gently brings space into the shoulder. The depth of the inhale, subtly expanding the whole of the torso. Exhale, releasing down. Enjoying that breath, that space. For another 3, inhale. Exhale. 2. 1 more deep breath in. And out. And from there, come back through center and come back to a table pose. From there, just take the hands a step or so out in front of you. And we're just going to draw some lovely circles with the hips, just some big sweeping circles, maybe letting the hips drop a little, pressing the hands into the mat. Just aiming to find some movement in the spine. If you want to give the head a little shake, whatever feels good, feel free. And from there, we're just going to sink into a puppy pose. So forehead is coming down to the mat, hips are above the knees. If you want to take a pillow or a brick underneath the forehead, feel free. If you want to come deeper into a melting heart pose, feel free, but letting the chest and the chin sink down towards the mat, stretching out there. You should feel a stretch under the underarms. So any variations that work for you. We're aiming to actively encourage the hands out in front of us. The hips stay high. From there, you will feel a beautiful stretch and extension down the sides of the body through the underarms. So we're actively encouraging the chest to sink down. Inhaling. Exhale. Just letting the spine extend for another 5. Inhale. Exhale. Really feeling once again into the depth of that breath, into that movement into the back body. 4. Maybe checking with the sound of the breath here in this prayer position. You can really feel the sound and the texture. 3. 2. And 1. From there, elbows drop. And sliding into a Sphinx pose. So coming down onto your tummy, elbows underneath the shoulders, letting the spine start to extend upwards now. Letting the chest reach through the arms, the shoulders roll down the back. The lower legs can sink and relax down. Inhaling. Exhaling. So feeling the shoulders reach down the back. Closing the eyes. Here you can really feel the breath in the lower back, in the side body. Another 3, 2, one more inhale, and exhale, release. Hands under the shoulders, press hips to heels, stretch back into a little child's pose, forehead to mat, shoulders back. Take a deep breath in, and from there, chin to chest will ripple up, and extending both legs out in front of you. So moving into a seated position. Again, if you know you like to sit up on a brick or find some support in your seated position, feel free. Extending the left leg out long, and you take the right foot over the left knee. Right foot is grounded, left foot is flexed. So you're finding a sense of activity into the floor with the legs. Inhale, reach the right hand up over and plant it down on the spine of the floor behind you. Grounding down into the hips, inhale, and exhale, start to twist, rotate. Hugging the left hand around the right knee. We're just thinking about finding length in the spine, inhale, and exhale, twist. Shoulders down, stretching out from the base of the spine all the way up to the crown of the head. So again, visualize that movement, that lift, that inhale, and exhale, twist. For 3, deep breath. And 2, for the inhale, carry the body upwards. Exhale, twist. One more inhale. And exhale, return through center. Left foot is going to come out to the left corner of the mat, right foot is going to come into the left inner thigh. Inhale, lift up there, angle the body forwards and start to fold forwards. So we've got options here. It might be that you feel quite comfortable here. You can always plant the hands behind you. If you can comfortably reach forwards, do go ahead. But what we want to avoid is the shoulders hunching up by the ears. You want to feel that sense of the spine extending long. This is a great place to grab your strap if you've got a strap or a belt at home, and you can take that around the ball of the left foot and just use that to help extend the arms. You can keep the shoulders away from the ears while getting that benefit of being able to gently stretch forwards with that little power from the hands. So any variations. Remember, you can also bend that left knee if you prefer. So whatever variation works for you. Inhale and exhale. So extending, stretching forwards. Thinking about grounding the hips, moving the body forwards and downwards. Lovely hamstring stretch. Releasing into the spine. Passive opening through the hip as well. Deep inhale. Exhale for another 3. Moving the body long, letting the rib cage move towards the knee and then down. 2. One more inhale. Exhale. Rolling up there, rippling up, and extending your right leg out long and take the left foot over the right knee. So taking that same stretch on this other side, think about grounding down the hips. Inhale, lift the torso. Exhale, left hand sweeps around behind you, hugging the right knee. Thinking about grounding down, big toe, little toe, heel. Flexing that right foot. Inhale and exhale, start to twist and rotate. Deep, full breath in. And shoulders down, stretching out. Inhaling, grounding down with this left big toe. Focus on finding height on lift and then twist, stretching around. Inhaling, exhaling for 3. Feeling that height, feeling that space. 2. Active through the hips, through the lower leg. 1 more inhale. Exhale. And returning through center. So just taking this little forward fold and then we're moving down to the floor. So right foot out, left foot in. Inhale, lift, angle the body forwards and take that forward fold. Remember, if you feel comfortable here, just gently stretching forwards, go ahead. You can plant the hands behind you. That's really great for encouraging the shoulders down. If you want to take a bend in that knee, rock on. Or if you want to use your strap, go ahead. So we're aiming to find a lovely stretch into the back of the right hamstring, through the spine, rounding down. Trying to keep from lifting this left shoulder up. You want to feel both shoulders move in line with each other. And again, working with the breath, thinking about that forwards and then downwards movement. So extending from the lumbar spine, from the tailbone, keeping the shoulders slightly drawn backwards, so you're not compromising the space that we've created in the chest. Inhale. Exhale. Thinking about breath, maybe closing the eyes, feeling into that breath, opening up space in the back of that right hamstring. Inhale. Exhale. Well done. Another 5. Deep breath. And out. 4. 3. Inhale. Exhale. 2. Taking one more deep inhale. And exhale. Roll on up. And from there, sending both legs out in front of you, give them a little shake. And then roll all the way down to lie on your back. So knees are in the air, taking the arms wide, just a few little stretches to unravel the spine, prepare the body for Shavasana. So just give the legs a little windscreen wiper from side to side. Lovely little neutralizer for the spine, for the hips. So just keeping the shoulders down, letting the knees knock from one side to the other. From there, draw the knees in towards the chest, and then taking a happy baby. Peace sign, fingers around the big toes, knees in towards the armpits. Having a little wiggle, thinking about pressing the lower back down towards the floor, drawing the knees in towards the armpits, stretching in there. If that's not available to you, you can always just draw the knees to the outer edges of the torso, keeping the heels in towards the bum. So any variations that work for you, little stretch, little wiggle. Thinking about extending the tailbone down as you draw the soles of the feet up to the sky. Deep breaths in. And out. For 3. So letting the blood flow back to the heart here. A little semi-inversion. Open it through the hips, extend it through the spine. 2. 1 more inhale. And exhale. Releasing that, and simply let both knees fall over towards the right of the run. If you want to have a little play with whether the feet are closer from the hips, further away, maybe starting to stack that right knee directly over left, or wrap the right leg around the left to increase the intensity. You can let the gaze turn out towards the right if that feels nice. Try and keep both shoulders down on the mat. If you want to be really soft and gentle, go ahead. Whatever variations work for you. Working here for just another 3. Inhale. Exhale. 2. 1 more deep breath in. And out. Unraveling and coming through center. And just taking a little stretch to the other side. Maybe both knees falling to the side, left knee perhaps stacking on top of right, arms extending out, fingertip moving away from fingertip. Again, you can be quite gentle and soft. You could stack the left knee on top of right, which just increase the intensity of that stretch. You can have a play with whether the knees are closer or further from the torso. You can wrap the legs around each other. So anything at all that feels good for you, finding an expression that feels right at this moment. Thinking about the shoulders releasing down, maybe the gaze turning out towards the left. And again, just feeling that deep inhale. And exhale as the spine starts to unravel. For 3, inhale. Exhale. 2. 1 more deep, full breath in. And From there, take a final little stretch and wiggle. And then kicking out with the feet. Maybe interlocking the hands, take a lovely full body yawn, extending the feet and the hands away from each other. Do a little shimmy out, a little stretch. Inhale. And exhale, let every muscle relax. One more time, extend out with the feet, squeeze, stretch the hands over the head, engage every muscle, little squeeze. Inhale. And exhale, relax. Tucking the shoulders down the back and finding a point that feels comfortable. You could bring the palms to the sky, then tucking the shoulders down the back of the neck long. If you like to lie on your tummy, that can be a really nice place to end as well. If you're near a wall, then you want to throw the legs up the wall. If you want to bring the soles of the feet together or the knees out wide, you just want to find any final comfortable position where you can just rest and settle, letting go of all holding in the body. Closing the eyes and starting to let the whole body relax. Bringing the awareness to the left foot, the toes, the ball, the heel of the left foot, the left calf, the front, the back of the left knee, up the back of the left leg, the left hip bone, the left glute. Inhale. And exhale, letting the left leg relax. Bring the awareness now to the right foot, to the toes, the ball, the sole, the heel of the right foot, the right calf, the front, the back of the knee, top of the right leg, the right hip, the right glutes. Inhale. Exhaling, letting that right leg relax. Tracing in your mind's eye the shape of the spine, vertebra by vertebra, settling down into the mat, all the way up from tailbone to the tip of the neck. Letting the left shoulder relax, the right shoulder relax. From left shoulder to left elbow, right shoulder to right elbow, left wrist, right wrist, the backs of the hands, the palms of the hands, fingers and thumbs, left and right, letting the arms, the hands relax. Bringing the awareness in towards the face, the eyebrows, the eyelids, eyelashes, the nose and cheeks, jaw, the lips. Inhaling. Exhaling, letting the muscles of the face relax, switch on. Feel the breath. Inhale. Exhale. The whole body can sink and ground and relax down. Just letting yourself be down here at rest. A few moments more, nothing to do at all. Simply be here with your breath in your body. You can stay here as long as you like.